Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live stream today, and we're talking about education planning. I did a post a couple of days ago, and there were a couple of questions. So I decided to do a live stream and answer all of those questions for you guys. It's the first time that you're joining us live. I am Yolanda. I'm a wealth advisor, and it is my goal on this platform to give you easy, actionable tips, content, and strategies that you can use to manage your money well and build generational wealth. And if you don't already know, this weekend is Financial Success Summit. It starts on Saturday, going on to Sunday. And if you don't have your tickets, go to our website. It's www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com. Or you can even look for us on Quicket and you can purchase your tickets there. All right, so we're talking about education, financial education. Well, this is part of financial education, but specifically today we're looking at education planning for kids. And if you scroll down to my feed, well, maybe after the stream, you'll find that I posted this a series of posts about inflation, education inflation in South Africa and how it's affecting the price of things. And I'm sure you guys know the state of education in South Africa. Places are being burned down. There is a call for free education, as was promised back in the early days of our democracy in the mid-90s. However, it was America's President Ronald Reagan who said that the 9 most dangerous words in the English language is, "I am from the government and I'm here to help you." So thinking that the government is going to give us free education and banking on that is not a solution for a modern, free-thinking parent in South Africa. We have to make a way. And I know it's difficult, but education is not exactly easy in South Africa. You got a lot of things going on, and the last thing you want is for finances to be that stumbling block that inhibits your kids to get a solid education. So some research was done a couple of years ago, and it was noted that from 2010 to 2015, that education had basically doubled in those 5 years. So with an inflation rate of around 8%, over 5 years, your cost of education is going to double. So think about how old your kids are right now. What are their ages, and at what year will they be entering a tertiary education? And just Google what the fees are for whatever it is your kids plan to study. And just imagine doubling that every 5 years. And that's just the tuition. Let's not count, well, that's not even considering the cost of travel. If they're studying outside of your hometown, it's the boarding costs, all the extras, all of that have to be factored in. So in those posts, we spoke about the inflation rate, and there were a couple of questions that came about when it comes to education planning with traditional education plans as opposed to a unit trust. And we're going to come to that in a few minutes. But let's talk about the various ways in which we can save for our kids' education. Firstly, you can put some money under the mattress every month. Okay, but you're on here on this platform, so at the very least you can do is put it in the bank and hope you can get a good return. And as you know, the repo rate is low, which means the return of your investment in terms of gaining high amounts of interest, that's on the low side as well. So if you put away $1,000 a month, maybe you're getting an 8% return. So factor in inflation, maybe 3.5%, deduct that and factor in inflation. In 10 years or so, you will only have about 120,000 Rand. That's not including inflation. So going the bank route and hoping for interest is not ideal. Okay, it's a start. It's better than nothing. If that's the only thing you're doing right now, maybe look at other investment solutions. And the second thing you can do is an education policy, as it's traditionally known. With most of the premium policies, when they talk about an education policy, it's usually an endowment. An endowment basically means that you have a period. Every company is different. Some companies it's 5 years, some companies it's 10 years. So those funds are locked in for 10 years. It's a very costly product for you as a customer. There's also high amounts of tax in it. So to say that a traditional education policy is not ideal is not really correct. If somebody is earning tax at a 45% tax bracket, he's on that tax bracket, an endowment is good for him, because in an endowment, the taxes are lower than his current tax bracket. Whereas if you're in an 18% or 26% tax bracket, an endowment is not good for you. All right. So a solution like a traditional education policy, it all depends on where you are, what tax level you're at, how much do you have to spend. But I wouldn't say it's correct to say that a traditional endowment education policy is not ideal. All right, we got to understand the workings of that product to know whether it suits us and our interest and our financial goals. Another thing to note about an endowment policy is those funds are locked for a certain period of time. There are penalties if you pause those monthly payments. There are very high penalties if you had to withdraw. There's also different types of fees involved within that product. So whatever you receive at the end of that endowment period is already taxed, and it's already noted with SARS with your income tax number and things like that. So what you get in your hand is for you. Whereas unit trust is a lot more flexible. It's a much cheaper platform, and depending on your advisor, you could have a wide range of funds in which you can invest. Unit trusts are basically taxed when you sell. So you could be in there for 10, 15 years, and you'll only pay tax upon the sale. It's capital gains tax, and again, it's depending on what it is that which fund you're investing in, and then you will be taxed accordingly. Yeah, so that's the basic 2 investments that you have when it comes to, well, the basic 3 when it comes to investing in your kids' education. However, South African financial services, they're very progressive. I think from all the countries in the world, I think South Africa is really up there with the type of products they come out to meet the client's need and the rate in which the products come out as well. It's very innovative. A lot of our products go overseas. They're deployed overseas. The core products from here are just adapted to the overseas market. So we have a very good and robust financial services system in South Africa. So as an advisor, we spoke about the investment solutions when it comes to education planning. Let me get my whiteboard. So here we are with investment solutions. But what I want you to consider as a financially savvy somebody, we spoke about investments. Okay, there's a lot more to investments. I just rounded it up in a nutshell. If you want to know about the various types of investment you should start at, go to our website. It's www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com, and there you will get a better idea of investments. So this is you, a nice slim you. Okay, so I recommend part of your education planning be here in the investment side. But I want you to consider this, the big R, and that's risk. And what do we mean when we say risk? When we say risk, we're talking about things like life cover, disability, and disease. Now, before you turn this video off, hear me out, because I'm pretty sure no financial advisor or very few financial advisors would have explained it the way I'm doing. All right, so we spoke about an investment, but I want you to have a 2-pronged approach to investing in your kids' education or saving for your kids' education. And this is where the risk comes in. So the risk investment basically is based on you being alive, okay? You have your kids, you got a good job, and you planning well, your kids are young, and here they are. So here's year 1, year 2, year 3, all the way up to 18. Maybe you start when they're a year old and you start investing 1,000 Rand a month. And over the years, the money just accumulates, the investment grows, and then something happens. God forbid, but something happens. And this is a reality. This is South Africa. Something happens here. You pass away. Touch wood, you don't. But this is the realities. And this is what I do as a financial advisor. I ask those hard questions that nobody likes to ask or nobody likes to think about. So with investments, if you die here, what happens to all these years until your kid turns 18 to study for university? So investments are dependent on you being alive. And the risk portion, the circles, the risk portion basically says, if you're no longer around, the education policy part of the risk cover will kick in. I know you're thinking you have life insurance for that. but let me explain some more. So our very innovative companies in South Africa have adapted to the needs of the country. And we see that folks are having kids later on in life. They're waiting a little bit longer to have kids and marry and settle down and all of that. And also, a lot of parents are dying young. I mean, we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? Hopefully, we are getting out of it. Our numbers are low. That's great. So we have these companies. I work with all three of these companies. I don't want to mention their names, but I want to show you what they've provided for us as South Africans. So here we have Company A. They have their traditional investment products that we spoke about previously, which is great. Okay. They also have their risk education product. And this is how the risk education product worked. It's attached to the life cover. So how the life cover is, you pass on, the life cover will pay, and the life cover portion covers your household income. However much it costs your household to run every month, 20,000, 30,000, cars, utilities, food, and all of the extras that you need to run in your house, that's what your life cover pays, all right? But here's Company A. Company A is saying, okay, we'll pay your life cover when you pass on. But in case you get disabled and you can no longer invest for your kids' education, or if you die and you cannot put away this 1,000, 2,000 Rand a month for your kids' education, let us cover the education for you. So let's say, God forbid, you have a child, 3 years, with a child is 3, parent passes on. So what the company is saying, as soon as you pass on, we will look after the education portion of your child separate from your life cover. So the nursery school, the excursions, the primary school, private school, government school, high school, the various sporting activities, the books, the transportation, all of that, they're going to look after if you pass on or if you are disabled. Okay. They will continue to do this until the child completes the first degree or up till age 24. So this is something really nice. I have a lot of clients that go for this because life is so uncertain. And remember, when we started, we spoke about the cost of education doubling every 5 years. And your life cover, it's a fixed amount, right? You know, you're getting 5-6 million when you die. And always factor in inflation. We don't factor in inflation. We think, right, that's enough. But if the price of education is doubling every 5 years, is it really enough? So Company A says, when your child does well, we will also pay for them to go into 20 Ivy League schools overseas, Princeton, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge. We'll pay for that also. All right. Then there's Company B. Okay, let's come back to Company A. So what happens here is your child turns 18, touch wood, you've lived a long, full life, but you haven't passed on. So you don't really get any payouts here. This is risk cover. Risk cover only pays when something happens. So if nothing happened, you've enjoyed peace of mind knowing that, okay, I've gotten to my child to 18. Now I've got to pay his way to university. Then this Company B functions just like Company A, but Company B has recognized that, hey, the parent is living to 18. We don't want this parent to lose all of this money. So let's fund the kid's education by giving the parent a portion back. So all of these premiums that you've paid with Company B, they are saying, okay, we're going to give you a portion back. You use it to do what you want to do. If your child doesn't want to study, the money is for you because, you know, you've contributed towards it. If the child does want to study, let this supplement your education investment savings with the risk portion over here. All right. So this is very nice. You're not going to get everything back, but you're going to get a nice chunk back that you can use. So Company B is one up over Company A because Company A doesn't give you anything back if you live. Okay. Whereas Company B has all of the benefits of Company A, but they're giving you a nice chunk back when your child turns 18. Here's Company C. This is my favorite because Company C is willing to fund up to 100,000 Rand of your child's tuition. That's a huge amount of money. I'm talking about anywhere in the world, United States, the UK. They're willing to do this, but obviously, you can also fund 50%. There's a lot of terms and conditions here, a lot of T's and C's. And here, all of these conditions is based on engagement and the level of your health. So if you're doing what it takes to stay healthy, you're eating healthy, you're exercising, The company knows, okay, this is an individual that's looking after themselves, and their statistics show that when a client looks after themselves in a certain way, they're most likely to live longer. There's no guarantees, but they're willing to cover your kids 100% tuition anywhere in the world. If you die. If you don't die, they're going to give you a nice chunk as well. This chunk is going to going to supplement your investment portion. And that's where we go back to our little circle. I got to get a bigger board. Okay, the little circle here. And this is the investment approach I want you to take for your family. So you and your family here, you're going to invest a portion every month, but you're also going to take a risk portion, because if something happens to you and you are no longer able to invest for your child's education, this risk portion is going to kick in. And if we don't want anything to happen to you, and if nothing happens to you, you're going to get a nice chunk back to supplement this. And that is, in a nutshell, how you basically fund education in South Africa. Now, there's a lot more to it, a lot more nitty-gritty you got to know about. And all of that advice happens on a one-on-one basis once me or your advisor understands what your goals are, what your needs are, and where you want to be. All right, so chat to your financial advisor about what I spoke to you about. Hopefully they can give you a solution. If you don't have a financial advisor, feel free to reach out, drop your number or your email in the comments down below, and I will reach out and help you as well. And if you have something for education right now, and if you want me to review it for you to see whether it's going to meet your needs, come time when your child does go to university, I can also do that for you and show you all of these nice options that are available. Unfortunately, usually when an advisor is linked to a specific company, they can't show you all that I have shown you when it comes to those various product options. But I'm somebody that works with many companies, and I can customize my solution to fit your need. All right, so that's education planning in a nutshell. You want to know more about education planning, you can join the Wealth Insiders platform. I'll place that link in the comments down below if you want to know more about that. All right, so if you have any further questions, you can put it in the chat. I don't have any comments in the chat, so that's good. So hopefully I explained it okay, and you understand things. And if you want to know more, just send me a message. Have a good night.